Good morning dear students. I hope you will be enjoying our online classes, these online video classes. You will be enjoying as well as you might have kept a proper pace with your studies or you are doing your studies seriously. Okay. Now in this session we are going to continue with class 7 history chapter number 3 the Delhi Sultans. The chapter has been finished, but when I was going through the question answers, I felt that some things are needed to be discussed so that there should not be any confusion in your mind or there should not be any doubts. Okay, so to take up revision class or you can say a discussion class for the question answer, I am here to take up this class. Okay, let's continue on with class 7. Chapter number 3, the Delhi Sultans. The first question of your textbook states, which ruler first established his or her capital at Delhi? Right? So name the ruler who established his or her capital at Delhi. Remember page number 31 which I have given during the discussion class or during the your notes class, log notes. Right? So at that moment I have told you to remember the first ruler and the last ruler because these are important things. First ruler was Anangapal, belongs to Tomar Rajputs, right? And the last one belonging to Lodi dynasty, Bahlol Lodi, I have remembered, right? So keep on revising up of the things so that you can also remember the things. So the first ruler who established his or her capital at Delhi was Anangapal of Tomar Rajputs. Tomar Rajput is the name of the kingdom or the dynasty to which he belongs, and Anangapal is the name of the king. So the correct answer is Anangapal of Tomar Rajputs. Clear? Now, second question is, what was the language of administration under the Delhi Sultan? See, I have discussed this question also during your log notes only. It's Tuareg or Persian. The language Tuareg written in Persian, or else you can only write Tuareg, no problem, or else if you write Persian only, it's also correct. Okay, so the language of administration I have discussed Tuareg in detail, right? So it was the language of administration, it was the language being used during the reign of Delhi Sultans, and this was the main language during the Delhi Sultan or Delhi Sultanate kingdomship. Okay, clear? I don't think there will be any problem with these two questions because these are short questions. Okay, just to have a warm-up session, right? In whose reign or under whose rule did the Sultanate reach its farthest extent? Farthest extent means when it is at its peak or it is being powerful, it has been considered as strong kingdom. Okay, so in the reign of Muhammad Tughlaq, always remember when Muhammad Tughlaq came into rule and when he was ruling in Delhi, Delhi extended its empire to farthest extent. That means Delhi has been a renowned kingdom, right? So it was Delhi which reached its farthest extent during the rule of Muhammad Tughlaq. I don't think there will be any problem with these questions, short questions, small questions these are. Let's proceed on with the next questions. Now a question came, from which country did Ibn Battuta travel to India? See, a name came Ibn Battuta. He was a traveler. Okay, he was a traveler. Now many of the travelers came to India, they wrote many things about our country, so it's a matter of great pride for us, right? That the travelers from another country came over here, they wrote many things about our country, they wrote about the history of our country. So it was Ibn Battuta, another example of traveler Fahain who visited from China, right? So these are the name of famous travelers. Now the question is, from which country did Ibn Battuta travel to India? From which country he came? Answer is Morocco. Correct? So these are small questions which you may get in your question answer part or in your answer link. So these are not the questions to discuss more. But if I am going to come to the fifth question, it is really needed to be discussed. According to the peasantry in mind. Why military commands always favor or looking forward to favor, to work in favor of peasants or farmers. Okay, military commanders, you might have remembered when it becomes very difficult for the king to rule to further extent areas, like if they are in Delhi, if they have to rule in Bengal, right? I have given an example also. It becomes very difficult for the king to rule to Bengal also. A king can't be present at too far off place. So they used to recruit military commanders, right? Military commanders who were taking care of a piece of land known as Iktas, and the holders of the land who were governing over the land are Iktadar or Muttis, right? I have already discussed these things. Keep on revising the things, otherwise you won't get it. Okay, so why it was important to keep the interest of farmers in mind? Mind you, for this answer you have to understand the circle of justice. Once you understand the circle of justice, everything will be crystal clear, everything will be clear. Okay, so it was important first understand the circle of justice. What does it states? It states that king cannot survive without soldiers. It was important because the king cannot survive without soldiers. Mind you, king cannot live or cannot survive without soldiers. If you are a king, you obviously need soldiers every time for one work or the other. So a king cannot survive without soldiers. Soldiers cannot live without salaries. Correct? So it was king who cannot live without soldiers. Soldiers cannot live without salaries. For a soldier to sustain the life, salary is very important. Okay, now salaries come from revenue collected from peasants or farmers, right? Salaries will come to the soldiers if peasants will able to produce the revenue and they will give the revenue, right? See how one stage of the people is related to another stage and how they are dependent with each other. This is the thing only we need to understand. So salaries come from revenue collected from peasants. Now peasants can pay the revenue only when they were happy and prosperous. If I am a peasant, if I am a farmer, I'll have to produce the revenue, I have to give the revenue. I'll only provide them the revenue if I am satisfied, if I am happy, if I am prosperous. I can do my work happily with great energy, with great efficiency, and this will come when I am happy and a prosperous field. And how I will become prosperous and happy? Only when the king promotes justice and honest governance. That means king should have to be honest and they have to be very much true, or they have to be very much honest with their governance, with their ruling, right? So this was the thing. A king cannot survive without soldiers. Soldiers cannot live without salaries. Salaries come when revenue is being collected from the peasant. Peasant provide the revenue only when they were happy and prosperous, and they will only be happy and prosperous when king promotes justice and honest governance from the top side, right? This is the meaning of circle of justice. That's why, because military commanders keep the interest of peasantry in mind. If they are not going to keep the interest of the peasant won't provide the revenue. If they won't provide the revenue, how they will get the salaries? That's why these military commanders always favor, always keep the interest of the peasants. Clear? To make it more clear and to make it get embedded inside your head and the things will be more simpler, I have described it in the form of a diagrammatic scheme or in the form of a diagram. Look at this diagram very clearly. This is circle of justice. Now king cannot live without soldiers, right? Soldiers cannot live without salaries. Salaries will come when the peasants provide the revenue, and they will provide the revenue only when they will be happy by the honest governance of the king, or they will be satisfied with the king. They were very much honest. If the king will be honest with the governance, and if the king will also think for the peasants, peasant can also think for the king, and they can produce the demand. Right, so this was the circle of justice. You can note it down, or else answer has also been written. So in any case, in this fashion, if you will write the answer, that is also correct. If you make the diagram, okay, if you make the diagram, then also it becomes necessary to write the 3 to 4 points, because from the diagram it's not very much clear as to what are the things, why I have made the king related to soldiers, soldiers to salary, salary to revenue from patients, and something like that, isn't it? So if you are making a diagram, make sure to explain it within few words. Okay, clear? Shall we proceed on? Now another question is, what do you mean by internal and external frontiers of the Sultanate? You have to understand two things, internal and external. Internal means inside, external means outside, right? So the areas, the internal frontiers include hinterlands of the garrison town. Hinterland of the garrison town. Hinterlands, a piece of land besides the town or city, right, which provide them with product and services, isn't it? Because hinterland of the garrison town, and what is garrison town? The fortified settlement with soldiers. That means the place which provides a resting place to the soldiers. Soldiers everywhere, they settle around some area known as garrison town. So all the areas which were included around, or which were included in hinterland of the garrison town, those were internal areas. Also areas which are very close to Delhi, like your Ganga Yamuna Doab. The word Doab over here means area. Clear? The word Doab here is nothing but area. The area nearby to Ganga Yamuna. Okay, first thing, the area nearby to Ganga Yamuna, and those areas which were included in the hinterland of the garrison town. Okay, only these two things you have to consider. These areas were considered as internal frontiers. Okay, so hinterland of the garrison town and the area nearby to Ganga Yamuna area, that means which is nearer to Delhi, those areas are being considered as internal frontier. External frontier, those areas which are far from Delhi, are external frontiers. External frontiers include unconquered areas which were not being won by the king, which were not victorious, which have not been victoried by the king. Okay, so unconquered areas of the southern India, South India. If I am going to talk about the southern part of the India, where Maharashtra is there, right? Your Karnataka is there, your Chennai is there, that means Tamil Nadu is there. Okay, all those areas of the southern part, your Maharashtra is there. So all those areas of the southern India which were unconquered, which were not conquered, which were not won by the kings, which were away from Delhi, those areas are considered as external frontiers. Clear? This was a common thing. First you have to concentrate over the internal frontier, and then you have to concentrate over the external frontier. Answers were very easy. Okay. Now, what were the steps taken to ensure that Muttis performed their duties? Now here question comes. Mukti, remember Mukti, the Iqtadar or the holders of the Iqtas. Iqtadar, or another name of Iqtadar, is terms are coming dear, mind you. So you consider it very important. Some of the questions might be there from Ikta and Mukti in this chapter. Okay. So Muttis, who were the Muttis? Those military commanders who are taking care of the peace of the land which is called Ikta, were Muttis, right? Why they take care of those land? Because kings were unable to take care of far-flung areas or areas which were far, right? So what were the steps taken to make them to perform their duties? And another question is, why do you think they may have wanted to defy the orders of Sultan? Why do you think that they wanted to defy? Defy means to deny, to neglect, okay, to overhear, that is not to listen. So they wanted to defy the orders of Sultan. They did not want to follow the Sultans. Why do you think? These are the two questions. First, we will concentrate over the first part. What were the steps taken to ensure that Muttis performed their duties? Now, in the first stanza, in the first line, I have described the duty of the Muttis. The duty of the Muttis is to maintain the law and order of the Iktas and to lead the military campaign. There were two duties of Muttis, right? To lead the military campaign, number one, and to maintain law and order in Iktas, mind you. Okay, to maintain the law and order in the peace of the land of which he is the holder, number one, and number two is to lead the military campaign. Suppose if there is any war, they should take the military with them and they should fight the war so that they will be victorious, or they can make the king to be safer, or they need to fight if some invasion comes, right? So the duty of the Muttis was to lead military campaigns and to maintain law and order in Iktas. This was the duty. Now, what were the steps taken to ensure that they will perform their duties honestly? They were assigned Iktas for short period of time. See dear, the kings used to give them Iktas, used to give them piece of land, but for shorter period of time. If they will remain over the land for longer period of time, it may happen that they think that land as his permanent land and he may become king over there, isn't it? So in order to avoid those circumstances, those conditions, king assigned them the Iktas or the piece of land for shorter period of time, for short period of time. Later, in the coming days or after that, they were shifted. So they were given the Iktas for shorter period of time. Moreover, they were shifted after regular interval of time, so that they can rule or they can take care of that piece of land temporarily, not permanently. Clear? Now the second thing was accountants were appointed. Mind you, accountants were appointed by the state to check the amount of revenue collected. Now if I am collecting the revenue, or the Muktis have also the duty of collecting the revenue, right? If they will collect the revenue, suppose if 500 dinars will be collected and if they will give 200 dinars only, telling that this is the only collection, obviously they are making a fraud, they are cheating, right? So in order to avoid that cheating, accountants were appointed by the state to check the amount of revenue collected. So revenue, whatever the revenue is being collected, it always been looked by the accountants who were appointed by the state, right? I don't think there will be any problem. Everything will be crystal clear now. Moreover, care was taken that Mukti collect only the taxes prescribed by the state and keep the required number of soldiers. Muktis don't do the things, don't rule the things in their own way. Mind you, they were under the king. Whatever the king orders them, they have to follow them. That's why Mukti collect only the taxes prescribed by the state. Whatever the tax has been prescribed by the state, that such and such farmer has to pay this much, only that much revenue, only that amount will be taken by the Muktis, not more than that, not less than that. So it's not in their hand to do as per according to their wish. He is a rich farmer, so give me this much. He is a poor farmer, give me only this much. No. It was been prescribed by the state. It was been already been declared by the state that you have to give this much and another person has to give this much, and something was there. Like that only the sequel will go. Okay. So the taxes, they will collect only the taxes prescribed by the state. Moreover, they will keep the required number of soldiers only. That means if 200 soldiers are required, I can recruit, being a Mukti, I can take only 200 soldiers. It was also been seen time to time that how many soldiers are being required and how many soldiers are there in the army. Suppose if 200 soldiers are there and if I keep 300 soldiers, that is an over exploitation of resource, or you can say resource or the money required will be more. Why to invest more? Why to overuse the money? That's why in order to have a look, they have to keep, or the iktadar or mukti have to keep the required number of soldiers. Clear? I don't think there will be any problem. Now another part of the question, why do you think that they may have wanted to defy? Why they were denying the orders of sultans sometimes? Why they were neglecting the orders also sometimes? Just because of the harsh condition of their service. And moreover, they may have wanted to defy the order of sultans as they were maintaining their own armies. Because Muktis have the duty, or Muktis have another responsibility of maintaining their own armies and collecting revenue. This was not an easy task. They were also under pressure. From whom to collect revenue, how much to collect the revenue. So in order to maintain their own armies, in order to maintain the armies and also collecting revenues, because these were not easy tasks, they were under pressure, and while they were under pressure, they were enforced, or they were provoked to rebel against the kingdom. Right? Also harsh condition of service, because this is also already a harsh condition. They have to work days and nights. They don't have to think about themselves. They have to keep on taking care of the iktas by means of maintaining law and order, by means of maintaining the land, by means of collecting the revenue from the peasant. Hell lot of works were there. Moreover, they were always under pressure. They were always under tension. That's why the harsh condition of service is the reason for defying the orders of sultan. As for example, if your father is working and he comes to the home from the office, his mood is not always the same. Sometimes he is happy, sometimes he is under pressure, he is under tension, he is sometimes under the worries. Right? This is a common situation. So if you can demand something, if you order something, it's not always true that the demand will be get fulfilled. The same thing happened with this mukti or iktadar also. Because of the harsh condition of the service, they were sometimes denying the order of kings. Also, because collecting revenue and maintaining their own armies enforced them, because it was such a harsh condition, or you can say it is not an easy job, because of which it provoked them to rebel against kingdom. This is not a good job. I'm suffering very much, so I can revolt against the king and I'll myself become a king. Something may come into their mind. That's why they were defying, they were denying the order of sultan. Sometimes it becomes very necessary. Right? Now, what was the impact of Mongol invasions on the Delhi Sultanate? See, what was the impact? Impact means the effect. Effect means you can say the result, the consequence also sometimes. What was the effect when Mongol invasion? Here the term comes invasion. That means attacking, challenging, right? So Mongols were time and again challenging. They were attacking Delhi Sultans. So what was the impact of those time and again attacking, right? So impact of Mongol invasion on Delhi Sultanate. Number one, the rulers of Delhi Sultanate raised a large standing army. Before the invasion of Mongol, or when Mongols were not attacking on Delhi Sultan, they used to keep small army, right? But as soon as the Mongols were invading, or Mongol invasion keeps on coming, then they have to keep a large standing army so that they can fight against those invasion or intruders, right? So they were keeping a large standing army. Moreover, Alauddin constructed a new garrison town named Siri. See, Alauddin was a ruler. He constructed a new garrison town named Siri for his soldiers. Okay, he has constructed a new garrison town. Okay, fortified settlement with soldiers. That means soldiers were given the place in one new town named Siri for his soldiers, while Muhammad Tughlaq emptied residents and the soldiers garrisoned there. While Muhammad Tughlaq emptied the resident, he has vacated his palace for the soldiers to live over there, and he also garrisoned over there. He also resided over there, right? So Muhammad Tughlaq has done something, as well as Alauddin also has done something in order to look for the favor of the soldiers, in order to make the soldiers to stay over to the area, right? Now, to feed the large army of soldiers, harsh taxes imposed on peasants. In order, because they were keeping large standing army, so the pressure automatically comes on peasants also. They have to give more revenues. They have the more harsh taxes were imposed on peasants. Too much taxes were imposed on peasants, right? Now they started paying their soldiers in cash rather than iktas. Before the invasion of Mongols, soldiers were given the salary in the form of giving a piece of land or iktas. You are a soldier, you take that part. You are another one, you take that part of land. But after the invasion of Mongol, they were being paid in cash rather than land or rather than iktas. So these are some of the impacts of Mongol invasion on the Delhi Sultanate. I think you don't have any problem relating to any of these questions. Rest of the questions also I will discuss if the case arises, if there will be any need. Now, because I have some time left, just note down the homework here. Write and learn question answer of the chapter, the Delhi Sultan. This is your homework. If I am giving you to learn the question answer, that doesn't mean you can learn only the question answer of that chapter. Every chapter's question answer. Keep on revising the things, keep on learning. It's a high time for you. Time and again I am telling you, dear, to continue on with your studies and do serious studies. Put your efforts into the studies. I hope you will be enjoying our session. You will be very much relaxed in your home, taking care of your parents, taking care of your family. So keep continuing with that until unless we are going to meet next time. It's bye from me. Have a nice day. Thank you.